It was supposed to be just another late-night Uber ride, but the man I picked up wasn't just quiet, he was wrong. The way he stared, the things he said, and what happened after. I still don't know if I survived a random scare, or escaped something far more sinister. Back in 2020, when the pandemic was still causing all kinds of chaos, I started driving for Uber to make ends meet. I had just been laid off from my retail job and needed quick income. The thing about rideshare gigs is, you see all kinds of people, especially when you're working late nights like I was. There were awkward encounters, drunk passengers, weird conversations. But none of that compares to what happened one Friday night in October. It was a little after midnight. I had just dropped someone off at a hotel near the outskirts of town. My app pinged almost immediately with a new request. The pickup location was about 6 minutes away, in front of a bowling alley that was part of a strip mall. Pretty standard stuff. The name on the ride said, Derek. I accepted it and started heading over. The area was quiet when I arrived, just a few dim parking lot lights. No cars in sight. The bowling alley looked closed. But there was a man standing alone under one of the lights, wearing a gray hoodie and jeans. He was tall, maybe 6 feet 2 inches, with his hands in his pockets, head down like he was staring at his shoes. As I pulled up, he looked at me, but didn't wave or move. I rolled down the window and said, "You Derek?" He nodded slowly, walked over, and got into the back seat, directly behind me. I started the trip and asked if the destination in the app, an address about 20 minutes away, was correct. He replied in a quiet, calm voice, "Yeah, that's right." I remember thinking, he sounded a little off. Not drunk. Not high. Just flat. Emotionless, but I didn't think too hard about it at the time. He stayed completely silent for the next 5 or 6 minutes. I kept glancing at him in the rearview mirror. Every time I looked, he was just staring straight ahead. Not out the window. Not at his phone, just, at the back of my head, trying to break the tension. I asked, "How's your night going?" He paused, then said, "Just needed to get out of there." I asked, "Out of where?" He replied, "Doesn't matter." I didn't push it. We drove a while longer. Around 15 minutes in, I realized we were entering a really isolated part of town. No street lights, big yards, lots of trees. As we approached the destination, he suddenly leaned forward and said, "Actually, can you pull into that driveway right there?" He pointed to a house on the right. The house was dark. No lights inside. No porch light. It looked old. Abandoned, even. The lawn was overgrown. Paint was peeling off the siding. No car in the driveway. I asked, "Is this your place?" He said, "Just pull in." I hesitated, but turned into the driveway. I stopped near the front of the house and put the car in park. He didn't get out. I looked back at him and said, "Everything all right?" Still staring at the house, he muttered, "Wait here." Then he got out, and started walking toward the building, but he didn't go to the front door. He walked around the side, and disappeared from view. I sat there, maybe 2 minutes, heart pounding. I didn't know what to do. The ride was still technically going, and I didn't want to get penalized, but something in my gut was screaming at me, this is not normal. Finally, I ended the trip manually. Marked it as complete. I started to back out of the driveway, but before I could shift into reverse, I saw him walking back toward the car. Fast, his hands were empty. But his expression had changed. He looked excited? Or angry. I didn't want a confrontation, so I unlocked the doors, but something in me said, "Don't let him in." He opened the rear door, got in, and said, "Take me to the other place." I asked, "What other place?" He said, "Just drive. I'll tell you." I told him, "You need to put it in the app." He didn't answer. He just stared at me through the rearview mirror. I repeated, "I can't take you anywhere unless you put it in the app." He was silent for a few seconds, then finally said, "Take me back. To where you picked me up." I didn't argue. I just started driving, but the whole way back, I felt this pressure, like the air in the car had changed. He didn't speak. But I could feel his eyes, burning into the back of my head, trying to lighten the mood. I joked, "Rough night, huh?" He replied, "You could say that." I asked if everything was okay. He said, "Not yet." I didn't ask anything else. We got back to the same strip mall. Same parking lot light. Before I could say a word, he leaned forward and asked, "You ever wonder how you're going to die?" I froze. I laughed awkwardly and said, "Not really something I think about." He didn't laugh. He leaned back in his seat, after a few moments.